welcome to IndustryMe, the platform for sharing stories and discovering new talent. I am your host, Nkosinathi, and I'll be in conversation with the man who brings all the rhythm to the blues. We'll get to talk about his new album, have a look into his past, and perhaps get a glimpse into the future if you allow it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Langa Mavuso. How are you doing? Happy level 1. Oh, happy level 1.
Happy level one.
Cyril opened the country. He did the right things.
Yes.
We can go out in public nowadays.
Yeah, I'm like, I did it the other day, and I'm a little bit wary about if I'm going to do it again.
Trust me too. I'm waiting for the hype of level 1 to die down before we start going out into the world.
I'm good. Currently in like that first mode. Very exciting. Speaking about the project,
That's good. How was lockdown for you? How did you keep yourself company? What did you get up to? I know it must have been hectic as well with everything leading up to the album release.
Yeah. I mean, actually, lockdown made it way calmer for me, I think if there was no lockdown, it would have been more hectic because then I would have been gigging, I'd been doing like campaign stuff, like the constant run around, which is what I'm used to, is like going to rehearsals with my band, leaving the band, going to a meeting, going to studio mixing, going to a shoot. It was usually like much busier. And I think when lockdown started, there was a lot of anxieties and panic. It was so much, like everyone was just kind of like, what are we gonna do, And I mean, I was in the same place. Like I was just like really scared because I didn't know what would happen to my income. I didn't know what would happen to my way of life, because this was a thing that we had no completely defined time in terms of its beginning and end. I mean, we still. So yeah, it was scary in the beginning, but then once I got into focusing on the album, it then became more structured. My days became about having meetings with my team and talking about the album, the release strategy, how we would shoot, and we were in level 5. We were like, yo, how are you shooting this cover? Are we smuggling in a photographer to your house and like figuring it out there, It was all of these things, and I was really afraid. But what I was happy about is the time that I got to focus on the details in the mixing and the mastering process. As I said, I'm usually quite busy in my schedule, so it was quite nice to wake up and only focus on one thing. Today, this is how I want it, and I could like listen to it in different modes. I could listen to it on my phone, on my laptop, in the car, with headphones on, with earphones. I could really write down notes about how it sounds in the different formats and how it could be better, and that was afforded by time. So the mixing and mastering process was way more intricate than I think it would have been had things not been the way that they were. And also just conceptually, like being able to conceptualize the cover, this time allowed me to like really tap in. Sorry, I'm gonna put this on silent. It gave me the time to really to settle in terms of my thought processes and conceptualizations of even the visuals for the album. I think I was talking to my friend about this, and we were saying that this lockdown, like, it's either you're gonna come out like feeling worse than it began, or you're gonna come out way more spiritually just in tune and connected, because it felt like there was some sort of like spiritual awakening
There was
with
a
many
whole
people.
paradigm shift with lockdown.
Yeah, truly. And I think that happened for me as well. And I think it definitely shifted my creative my creative awareness to a new level. So yeah, lockdown has had its ups and its downs.
That's good. I'm glad you managed to, work in your schedule versus being at home. And I think the funniest thing about lockdown is having to smuggle people places. And the curfews were weird, and
Yeah.
just having to
Luckily,
handle business is insane.
struggling thing anymore, because we got into level 3, and level 3 we were kind of allowed to go out, and there was the whole permit thing, and you could go out with a permit. So yeah, so I think when we got to shooting the album cover, we were already in a better place.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So, as per Wikipedia, if I am correct, and if Wikipedia is correct, your name is Nkosinathi Nhlakanipho Mavuso.
Yeah.
Translated into English, Ilanga means the sun. So, how did Langa come about? How did the name Langa form?
Yeah. So as with most
Sorry,
people, I
hey
think
cutie pie.
um, as with most I think family situations, we don't all grow up with our like biological parents. So my father's surname is Langa, my biological father, and my mother's surname is Mavuso. And so I think as a young man, for a long time, I was really searching for an identity of who I was, because so much of who we are is like represented in our names as Africans, right? So uh, people would say, okay, how's this, or you know, and
Mhm.
it's like, this was my surname, yes, but I'm a kind of family. And according to the belief systems that exist in father's family is who I to recognize myself as, you know. And I asked my mother at some point, I think I was about 5 or 6, like maybe 5 or 6. So it started that early for me. So my dad's surname. He told me it was Langa. He slowly came back into my life, I think around the age of 9. And having to balance the thing of like existing in the identity of my mother's family and my stepdad's family, and belonging to them, but also like finding a sense of belonging with my dad's family, with which whom I wanted to identify with without having to change my surname. You know,
Mhm.
I,
Mhm.
had that issue for a very long time. So when I started creating music, there was an artist out named Nati, you know, and all my friends, all my family calls me Nati. And there was an artist out called Nati, and I think I got like 3 or 4 calls like from people like, "Oh, I heard your song on the radio. Love
Meanwhile,
it
it's
so
not
much." I'm
you.
like, "What song?" Yeah, I'm like, I'm at UCT studying jazz. Like, I haven't released any music, you know. And then I found out, no, there was an artist named Nati, and obviously because a lot of my family and my friends knew that I sing, they thought it was me. I was like, this is gonna be a problem. We need to figure it out, you know. Um, and the role of identity again came back in finding a name that was suitable for me as an artist. I didn't want to create a name that didn't exist. I didn't want to uh, manufacture something that felt worthy of appreciation or celebration. So I then looked back toward myself, and I was like, what would be the best way to be identified as? And I thought the best thing would be to be called Langa Mavuso, and that's simply to honor both parts of me, to recognize where I come from, and not just in singularity, but in wholeness, you know. So
The
that's
joint
why
effort that created you.
that's why
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's actually a pretty cool story.
But
I'm gonna.
I really also love, sorry to interrupt you.
No problem.
I also love the fact that Langa meant day, but also sun, right? And the sun is the brightest star in our orbit. And for me, I hope to create work that allows me to be the brightest star, but also that allows me to have the same kind of energies as the sun. The sun gives us warmth and it allows us to produce light. So I hope that my work and my craft does that. It embodies the characteristics of the sun.
I can well and truly tell you this: your music and your craft is food for the soul.
Thank you.
It is absolutely lovely, but we'll get there. I'm gonna pick your brain about that. I've done a bit of digging about you, and it turns out that music's always been a part of your life. And you come from a musical family, and your mom and dad were both in a choir. And one day when you were younger, you didn't know you had the gift of song, but someone asked you to sing, and you were a bit embarrassed because your vocal range was a little prepubescent at the time. And later on in life, somebody heard you singing in a school bathroom and forced you to sing in front of a classroom.
Yeah, you heard all of this.
Do my research. I do my research. Was that the point where you decided, that's it, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life? It moved people. It seems like something I'm good at. This is it. Done here.
Yeah. Ooh. So I think sitting at the back of the hall in Orlando, listening to my parents rehearsing, I think that incited a love for music and for performance. I think then watching them in the choir competitions kind of created a yearning for the stage. I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna get on this stage, but I want to be there one day. I want the applause. I want that kind of excitement because they seemed so happy there, you
Oh,
know. I wanted to be a part of that. So even when I was in school, I was quite a cultural kid. I was in choir, I was in drama, all of those things. Um, but I never thought like there was really like a voice there, you know, until Pumeza actually, Shota's wife, she used to live in the same complex. She heard us singing, like, it was like in the age of pop stars. Like, pop stars was really popular then. And then we would like play different TV shows after school. So she comes past, she's like this older kid, and she's like, you guys can sing for me. So we sang for her. And she's like, oh no, you need to sing for me again. She picked me up
hey.
for her. And she made me sing a Whitney Houston song after that. And that's when I realized that I could sing, you know?
Whitney was your
Um,
gateway.
yeah, Whitney opened it up, you know? And after that, I then started to explore the gift a little bit more, but I was still a little bit like embarrassed by it. So this kid in primary school heard me singing, and he told the teacher, and the teacher made me sing in class, and that then like the teacher, I ended up having to sing for the whole school, and it was like a thing. So yeah, that's how people kind of discovered that I could sing. And once it was out there, like it became my thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I started group in like groups were quite popular then, like Adila 101. So we would
The
like
pop
spend
stars
our
made careers, so
yeah.
the group thing was, we had girl and boy bands left and right.
And I mean, Westlife was also like internationally. Spice Girls had just ended. Like all of this, like it was. We were living in that era of like boy boy bands and girl groups. So yeah. And then we started literally becoming those kids at school who are like constantly rehearsing and practicing music, and just want to. Oh, sorry, Uchi, you're gonna behave yourself.
Not feeling like behaving today, huh?
So we would rehearse, and like music became my thing, and falling in love with it opened me up more and more to the arts. And I watched the movie Fame, and then I was like, yo, ke batla ya sekolong se tshwanang le sena, you know?
Oh, Fame.
And that old version, that 1980
Of course,
one,
no remakes allowed.
yeah, I watched that version, and I was like, I want to go to a school like that, you know. And we ended up going to the National School of the Arts, and yeah, the rest is history.
Oh man, that's epic. Fast forward a few years, Sunday Blues happens.
Yes.
So,
Ooh.
yes, so Sunday Blues, to my understanding, is a song about yearning for a partner's presence in the relationship through the good times and the bad. It seemed like the introduction to your music and to yourself, kind of like a bit more of like a whole understanding of the direction you want to take in your music. And Black Coffee, the legendary DJ and producer, heard it. What changed from that moment? Firstly, how did you feel?
Yeah. You know, yeah, Sunday Blues. I actually wrote Sunday Blues. It was initially an assignment. It's cool. And I've never told this story. Like, it was an assignment for jazz improv, I think. And they said take a popular jazz standard, transcribe it, and basically transcribing it is just like learning the instrumentation, being able to sing, right? Write it down, transcribe it, and then put lyrics to it, you know. So I then like decided to take Miles Davis kind of blue, and like I just started writing the lyrics there. And I'd been going through this thing in my relationship where I just felt like my partner wasn't being present. So I was like, okay, that's what I want to write about. And I forgot about it after that. Like I wrote it, did the assignment, ooh, yeah, great, amazing, moving on. Forgot about it, and I was in Joburg. I'd left UCT, came back to Joburg, just trying to figure out myself, working at an agency, and I was just like, oh my God, I miss music. So I picked up my phone this one day and I just started recording like the song, you know, Sunday Blues, just off of memory. And posted on Instagram. You know, I've got my small following of people from SoundCloud and Instagram, like 3,000 followers, like that kind of thing. And they're like responding to it quite positively, you know, like, there's a song coming out, please, SoundCloud, you know, we really love this, people need, you know, like it got like hype in my small little world. And that then made me want to finish off the song. So I then went to studio with Darren Parkinson and finished recording the full song, and we put it up on SoundCloud, song that was out. And then I'd always had a relationship with Red Bull Studios.
Okay.
And Red Bull Studios.
How did that come about, if you don't mind me asking?
So I was always friends with Tapelo Mukwena's brother Tono, who works at Red Bull, and he always gave me access to studio because he knew I was as a young musician who wanted to work in music, and he always tried to give me as many opportunities as possible. So I then reached out to Clown and I was like, hey, I want to record this EP called Home. Can I please get studio time in Cape Town? I'll sort out my own accommodation. Like, please let me go. And he's like, cool. Go down to Cape Town. And I'm like, I really need to make this like worthwhile. Let me get content as a part of it so that there's some value in this whole process. For my friend Nali, and she had this page called UCT Live Room. And I'm like, hey girl, can you please like record some content for me while I'm in the studio? I really just need like some video stuff.
Some good quality video content.
Yeah. And she goes, yes, I'll do it for you, but you have to do UCT Live Room for me. And I was like, I'm not really at UCT anymore, so why am I doing Live Room?
You come from there. Oh.
Yeah. She's like, no. She's like, no, it doesn't matter. Cool. Shoot UCT Live Room. Come back. Then we released the video, right? And the day I released the video of the City Live Room, I was like going to a party. Right? So I kind of quickly, like, I'm posting quickly, like going to a party. Go to the party, my phone is off, right? My phone dies.
You're having a good time. There's no time for a phone.
Great. So at this discussion show, it was like a multidisciplinary kind of party, like the performances, like it was a really like fun situation. Cool. But people keep staring at me and people keep coming up to me like, oh my God, you're such an amazing singer. Dun, dun, dun. And I'm thinking, oh, they've seen that old video that I had posted, or maybe they follow me on SoundCloud. And I'm asking my friend, yo, dude, like so many people have been coming up to me today, you know? And then I go home and charge my phone. And as soon as I switch it on, like the notifications literally wouldn't stop. Like they kept on going and going and going and going. And mind you, I didn't have Twitter until like 6 months before that.
Oh.
I'm not used to having crazy notifications. Go to Twitter and it's like madness, you know, and this video is trending. And I'm getting so many DMs from people that I look up to, you know, just them saying how much they love me and like how much they really like respect what I've done with the song. One of the people is Black Coffee, and he's like, yo, man, you're so talented. I'd love to work with you. Please let me know if you're available to create together, you know, whatever. Cool, send him my number. And I'm like, yo, if you want to record tomorrow, I'm free, you know? And he texts me and he says, hey, come to studio on Wednesday. Let's work on a song. And we really started to work on a song. And yeah, and after that, I kind of sent him some of the music I was working on. And I was like, hey, some of the music I'm working on, please give me some feedback on what I could do better and what could be like improved upon. And he was like, oh my God, this is perfect. He says, my management team is going to call you. And yeah, we literally spent time negotiating a contract, signing, and that kind of led to many other things. You know, being signed to Solistic was a huge moment for me. And I learned a lot as an artist, as a creative, but also just as someone who is interested in the business of music and having it work to the advantage of creatives.
I mean, the logistics of joining a label are very important, and that's another thing that a lot of people overlook. So you having the opportunity to kind of learn what happens behind the scenes, if you will, and build on the business element, I think is absolutely great for every artist's career. I think that's something that kind of needs to be shared more than it is now. But so you've joined Black Coffee and Liminal Sketches comes out. So when Liminal Sketches came out, it was absolutely lovely. I loved it. Listened to every single song twice. Hard to pick a favorite, but fast forward. Okay, yeah, but that's the standard favorite. You know what I mean? Like that sets the bar. It sets the bar. Lovesick is the one. So fast forward some time, and Mvula comes out. Also now what seems to be a reintroduction. A different level of yourself. A game changer. The cleansing of toxic love. How did your vision change from Liminal Sketches up until this point?
Well, I'd grown up, to be honest with you. Liminal Sketches, I'd probably written when I was like 18, while I was still in high school. And it was during a very like tumultuous time of grief, like very painful time in my life, very tough time that I went through. And with Mvula, I was 23 now, and I had begun writing the album, which is out now. That's when I was kind of like going through a new relationship heartbreak, you know. I was a little bit more grown up. I was less naive. But I was also aware of the importance of the relationship in my life and then who I was, you know. So when I started to write Mvula, I had just tapped into a different part of myself musically, and also in terms of like my writing. I knew that the album was about seeking healing, you know. And in the process of creating it, I was constantly like seeking healing. So each part of the album represents the time that I was in that journey, you know. The beginning part um, is the heartbreak, the pain, the loss, you know, the anguish, the anger, you know. That's the beginning part of the album, and that was really 23 into 24. 24 was then like the mess a bit, and the distraction and the all over the place. This is where Panther sits. This is where all of me sits. So Cheap Code sits, where I was kind of like trying to pretend like I was better and I was
Dancing to
great.
the beat of your problems.
Yeah, you know that thing when you start going out a lot because your heart is broken, and you start
I
like
think it's gonna
seeking love.
fix it.
Yeah, you start seeking love in all the wrong places. That was the middle of the album for me, and the solace comes in then at the end after the song called Pretend, you know, and I go into a prayerful moment of spirit, and I also then resolve it with love lost, and love lost is really the resolution of love sick, you know. It has
Okay.
nothing to do. It has nothing to do with the relationship that I'm in the album, but it it teaches me how to let go through finding peace in that death that happened when I was 13. I think that was the most painful losing of love that I found. So the resolution and the peace that comes that I was seeking starts first with the trauma and the pain of that first love, then helping to resolve the one that I was in primarily. So yeah, Mvula really started that journey um, of the album, and it continued until we got to Love Lost.
So, to the meat of the matter, the official self-titled debut album, Ilan. How did you feel when it came out? Because I heard it, and first thing I said was, "This is Grammy worthy. This is it. That's it." I mean, I think it's absolutely lovely. I can pick up favorites, but yet again, you've made it absolutely difficult, which I appreciate in an artist. It's rare. You know, it's very rare to find an entire album that just captures you from start to finish. No song is skippable on this project.
People create two singles and then they create fillers. Like that's what they they don't create albums. They want to fill it up. With no shade.
All from the shade.
um, yeah. Oh, putting it out is such an exciting thing for me, you know. To finally have a full body of work out, you know. I think I thought I was avoiding it, but I realized until I wrote Love Six that it wasn't really avoiding it, but it was an awareness that we were not finished. You know, there was work that I was doing internally, and this album is really a reflection of that work. You know, and I think that when it came out, I was so at peace and so happy to have finally reached a place where I had settled in my journey of heartbreak, and I really found resolution and peace. You know, like I had. Sorry, Mama.
Bless you.
I had really been able to settle in my emotions, you know. So I had gone through it all, you know. I think there's a Naira Wahid poem that I once read, I think, where she says, "Feel it, grieve it, and make room for new feelings."
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I had gone through. I needed to feel every feeling. I needed to breathe everything that I thought could have been, and I had now reached a place where I could feel new feelings and I could move on. So, yeah, I was quite happy to put out this project because I felt that it was complete, and I felt that it was worthy of the people who have supported me over the years, you know. I would never want to like half-ass it and give you just something to hold on to. But it was important
Two
for me.
singles and some fillers.
Yeah, no, I couldn't do that. I needed to really put my heart and soul into it, you know. Also for the sake of the continuation of work, right? Because if I'd never resolved it, I would have continuously been writing music about these feelings, you know.
Mm.
I mean, like we're done, like we're moving on now, you know. And I
Closure is
said to
important.
yeah, I said to my manager, I said, I'm not gonna write Sunday blues over and over again. Sorry, someone's trying to call me.
No problem.
I said to my manager, I'm not gonna write Sunday blues over and over again. Like, if there's one thing you shouldn't expect of me is that I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna write Mvula over and over again. Like, those are songs that express specific feelings of a specific time and a specific context. To grow and to become better and to constantly be be more, we have to open up ourselves up to new things and new feelings. So yeah, I was excited to put out the album. It's such a personal project and record that really, it goes in. Like I literally, like, it starts off with like a really ranty kind of song, just kind of like I'm angry, you know, and then it really comes peacefully into Zio, and it's like maybe I'm wrong, you know, and then we go into to Mvula, and it's like maybe we're both wrong. Let's cleanse ourselves and let's let go. Then it goes into searching and goes, you know, that moment of like, I know we've let go, but like, can we
What
try again?
now?
Let's still think about this, pray about it. And then it goes into cheat code, and it's like I'm angry again because like you're still doing the same thing, you know. Like, but anyway, I'm gonna move on. And then we go into Panther, and Panther is like really an expression of like regret, you know, because I'm like there's so much like pretense after a breakup. You're like, I've got my revenge, buddy. I'm living better, you know. And Panther really expresses that regret through the story of like the end of a night out, you know, really sitting in that car and you're like,
Nobody
why?
likes to run out of champagne because at the bottom of the bottle you still have your problems.
Yeah, because you get to the end of the bottle and the problems are still there, you know. The heartache is still there, you know. So it speaks to that regretful nature of distraction. And we do it for a long time, ever uh, cover or fill up that void, you know. Moving to All of Me, which is also like for me, like the song where I can't tell about the messiness. You know, I'm in London, meet this really amazing place, a really amazing life. But it's a short-lived thing. Then we go into power lines where I start to realize that, this person that I'm really trying to look better for is moved on, you know, and I'm still hurt, so I need to figure it out things for real. Then we're going to pretend where I meet an old friend, and we speak about how sometimes this life is just an act, you know, and sometimes you just need to ask for real. And that then informs the shift with spirit, which then becomes a prayer. And that prayer um, is really a moment with God and to just saying, like, I'm not in the best space, like, guide me and I will follow you. But then there's a beautiful space in the song with just piano. So the intention for me was that I pray for myself in the first half of the song, and the second half is silent, it's just piano, because I hope that the listener prays for themselves,
I know
and then
I did in that moment, in that, just sorry to interject, just in that section of spirit. I know that, a lot of people pray in different ways. Everyone has their method, everyone has their, their, their feeling towards just the act of prayer. One of my favorite prayer modes is singing at the top of my lungs. And did I not sing at the top of my lungs? I'm pretty sure I went back to that gap a good 2 or 3 times just to really get it all off my chest and just have my moment to just let it go and release it and throw it in the air. And I think that was the perfect outro to it felt like a collective effort. It felt like I was not alone in a moment of prayer. Usually it's singular and there isn't much of a community around prayer, especially if you're from different spiritual backgrounds. It's very difficult to, if you're a Christian, walk into a mosque and pray, And with spirit, that little gap kind of created that it doesn't matter where it is you're from, what it is you worship, what it is you believe, this is your moment, this is your time, do what you're going to do. And I 100% appreciate that, because it just removes all the lines that people have drawn in between the connection that it is that we have with God. Just a space to be yourself as is.
No, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. I couldn't have said it better. That's exactly it. Yeah, I mean, I think we didn't go into I Wish with Chloe and Manana, and that's really about reflecting on the world that each as individuals we are faced with, that song fix it, and to true, even the title says it, that even though I sing that I lost love, I wanted to call the song Love Lost, because I felt that I had given my all and that I had witnessed the most precious and most beautiful kinds of love. But and I didn't lose, but love lost.
Lost.
Yeah, it was really a beautiful process.
Absolutely gorgeous project. Yet again, Grammy worthy. Grammy worthy. Langa Mavuso's team. Listen, I said Grammy worthy, but we'll fight another day. Yo, let's go. You worked with powerhouses and phenoms on this project.
Yeah.
I mean, Amy George, Manana, Zoe Muri Khabato, Yanga Chief is on here, Zadok is on here. What were the differences and pros and cons of working in a collaborative space versus solo?
I mean, every song was a collaborative effort, to be honest with you. So there was never a difference, it was just about the intention was the difference, with each song, we had a different intention, you know. Um, but for me, with everything, truth and honesty was at the center of the process, Um, I really needed to create in a space that was safe to be honest and to be true. And everyone that I worked with made me feel like that. Initially when I started working on the album, I was like, I'm gonna get all of these big names on the album, and they're gonna elevate it and take it to a new level and a new awareness, blah 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 blah. And as I was creating, I could tell that like trying that method of working was a bit disingenuous for me in terms of capturing the true essence of the music and the true essence of the message, And so working with friends and people that I knew then became the easiest thing, because collaboratively, there was no hindrance of truth. You know, there was no hiding behind walls or pretense. It was all quite bare. And it was amazing. I mean, it's great that they're powerhouses, but like most of them to me are just friends first, you know, people that I've known for years and people that I trust with my work and with my story. And so I just let them come in and share what they could share with me for this project. You know, Amy does the backing vocals in home, you know, and so every time I'm in Cape Town and I'm in studio, I would just call her just to pop in, you know, to see if there's any way that she could be a part of the work, you know, and that's how Pretend came about. Bobele and I were working on the song, and I said to him, I said, Amy was there in studio with us, and I said, don't you want to sing with me on the song? And she was like, oh, do backing for you. And I was like, no, like sing.
At a
Full,
verse.
you know, and it was beautiful. Like she was afraid to write, you know, she there was almost like not trusting herself, you know, and for me, it was like, I needed to affirm her, to let her know that like, you writing is just really about reflection most of the time. Just you need to just reflect on let's talk about. I was really excited about the producers for me on this project more than anything. I worked with some amazing producers who have some crazy resumes. You know, Noble has worked with Beyonce. They produced a song called Find Your Way Back. Um, Lyndon J was on tour with Khalees before we went into studio. He was also he works with Tom Mish and Ruben James. Like, he works with big names in the UK. Math Time Joy works with Chloe and Halle. He works with Snake Hips, Gallant. So many like big artists who are Grammy nominated artists, you know. And for me, I was surrounded by excellence, but that excellence was quite humble in its approach, and open to create new work that would be quite poignant in the time that we exist.
I think it's fair to say that with all the work that you and the team have put in, it shows, and there's more to come. Can we expect some visuals anytime soon?
Yeah, the visuals are done. We've already shot them. In fact, I need to check my email. There might be a video coming out this Friday.
Oh,
Yeah, no. So yeah, we definitely have visuals coming out for two of the songs, and actually for three. These are three videos. Yeah. Done a lot of work. There will be visuals coming out. The visuals will share a part of myself that is a bit more intimate, a bit more personal, that I've been really like kind of apprehensive about sharing for a very long time. But it just felt like the project was quite personal. So we had to go there. So yeah, I'm a little bit nervous and excited about that. So you guys just have to keep it locked on the socials and on just the streaming pages to see to see all of that work.
well, that's good. We're excited, and I'd like to close it off by asking you kind of like a bit of a double barrel question. Your fashion sense is like on another level. It's absolutely brilliant. You give me, you know, cool, chic, lax, casual vibes sometimes, and then for shoots and things, you have this 5 minutes to an award show type thing. Will we be seeing more of your aesthetic within the visual?
Yeah.
Would you be more involved in the aesthetic like process when it comes to the visuals that are coming up?
Yeah. I mean, I love fashion. I've always loved fashion. Like, I think if I didn't work in music, I'd probably work in fashion, if not fashion politics. Um, Thank you. That's so kind of you. Fashion is like an intrinsic part of who I am and even my career. I've done like campaigns with all the major retailers in this country, and it's something that I love so much. I'm always like involved in the process and then the visual story that we tell. Um, Even with the I call my stylist my image architect. You know, I think that I have a clear vision, but I, I don't necessarily have to be the person executing it. I'm a king of mood boards and storyboards. Like, I'm overly involved in everything. So there definitely will be more fashion coming from me. I love local fashion. I'm literally always wearing some local designer. So yeah, I'm excited to share more of that side of me. And yeah, we'll see with the merch. You know, I think as the album goes by, and once we're allowed to travel, and we can tour this album, we will be having some merchandise, which will include some fashion, some obviously some clothing items, but also some music items that will be limited edition. So I'm excited to tour this album. I just want people to get it and learn it so that when it's time to tour it, they're ready. Yeah, they must just go back to doing that lyric book thing, you know. Practice
Definitely.
your
Oh
practice
yeah.
your lyric.
Where we take out,
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, but back in the day, we take out the little CD flap thing and write out the
Yeah.
lyrics word for word.
I want to do that with my vinyl.
Oh
Like, I
yes,
want to a sleeve, you know, in the vinyl and really be able to do the thank yous and kind
of
of
course. I feel like pull out lyric posters need to come back. They have
100%.
to. Thank you so much for talking with us today. Please, last request, plug yourself. Look dead center into the camera and plug thyself.
Oh, please. Hey, guys, my name is Langa Mavuso. Please download my brand new album, Langa, on all streaming platforms. It's available for purchase as well on iTunes. Follow me on social media at Langa Mav on Twitter and Instagram, and Langa Mavuso on Facebook and YouTube. For me,
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. That was Langa Mavuso with his brand new debut album, Langa. Check it out everywhere. He mentioned all streaming platforms. Oh, excuse me. All streaming platforms. Check out his YouTube. Follow his socials. Stalk his life. He's about to make big moves in the future. The country's opened up. And don't forget to follow us at IndustryMe Official on Instagram and IndustryMe with 2 E's on Twitter. Langa, thank you so much and have a wonderful day. It's been an absolute pleasure.